Today we will be going over Lesson 7 of Algebra 1A. The objectives for this lesson is so you will be able to write an equation of a line using slope-intercept form. You will also be able to write a linear equation in slope-intercept form to represent a contextual situation by representing constraints as the slope and y-intercept. So a linear equation is an equation for a straight line. They use simple variables such as x and y, and keep in mind these variables do not have exponents, square roots, cube roots, or anything like that. Slope-intercept form is the most common form of a straight line, and it is written as y equals mx plus b, where m is your slope and b is your y-intercept. Slope can also be used for a rate of change or rise over run. The y-intercept is the point that crosses the y-axis. Here's an example. What we want to do is identify the y-intercept and the slope of the line. Again, the slope is your m value, which is the value in front of the x. Remember that if there's no number in front of a variable, it is an invisible one. So the slope for this example is -1. The b is the constant, the number that's by itself. So the y-intercept for this example is 4. So what about when we do not have a constant, for example? This one right here, y equals 2/3 x. So the slope, again, is the coefficient before x, and that is 2/3. This time we do not have a b value. That means the y-intercept for this example is 0. What if we have a line that only has a constant? Same thing, we're going to identify it. If there's no number, or if there's no x in general, that means the slope is going to be 0, and the y-intercept is going to be 3/2. Now we're going to try and graph. We always want to identify the slope and the y-intercept first before we start plotting the points. So again, y equals mx plus b. Your slope is going to be -2, but for graphing purposes, we are going to make that into a fraction, which is -2/1. Keep in mind, all integers have a denominator of 1. Your y-intercept is going to be 6. Remember, we have to plot the y-intercept first because your slope is actually not a point. So we're going to look at the y-axis, plot 6. And because the slope is -2/1, we are going to go down 2 units to the right 1 unit. Now that we have that, we can plot a point right there. And remember, we only need 2 points to draw a line. So we're going to draw a line through those 2 points, and that is the line for y equals -2x plus 6. Now we are going to write an equation using 2 lines. So this example has the points 2, 14 and -2, 2. The first step is to find the slope. And as you should have learned, slope is the change of y, or y sub 2 minus y sub 1, over the change in x, or x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Plug in what we know. The y values are 2 and 14, so the top is going to say 2 minus 14. The bottom is going to say -2 minus 2. Simplify the top and then simplify the bottom. We get -12 over -4, which simplifies to +3. That means our slope is +3. Second step is to choose one of the points and plug it into y equals mx plus b. I am going to choose the second pair. You guys can choose the first one if you like. You should get the same answer. So we're going to plug it in. The y value is 2 equals, slope is 3, times the x value is -2 plus b. Next step is to solve for b. So we know that 3 times -2 is -6. We have 2 equals -6 plus b. In order to isolate the variable, we need to use opposite operation. Get rid of -6 by adding 6 to both sides. The right side cancel out. The left side is equal to 8 because 2 plus 6 is 8. Now that we have b, all we have to do is plug in the m value, which is the slope, and the b into y equals mx plus b in order to get our equation, which turns out to be y equals 3x plus 8. Now we are going to use a table to write an equation in slope-intercept form. So this is very similar to what we did earlier, except for this time you get to choose more. So we want to know what is the correct slope-intercept form of the equation that fits the data in the table. Same thing as the previous slide, we want to find the slope. You can choose any two pairs that you want. You should have the same slope no matter what. I am choosing the two middle one. Plug in everything we know. -3 minus 0 divided by 0 minus 2, which gives us -3 over -2. Let's simplify the two negatives, turn into a positive. We get 3 over 2. Second step is to check to see if the table has the y-intercept. If it does not, we're going to find it by using or by solving for b and y equals to mx plus b, like we did in the previous slide. However, if you look at the table, there's x equals to 0, right? Because the y-intercept is the y value when x equals to 0. In our example, the y-intercept is -3. So this time you did not have to plug it into the equation to solve for b. Now we can plug in m and b into the equation, y equals mx plus b, to get our equation. We get y equals 3/2 x minus 3. The last one is to use a slope and a point to write an equation in slope-intercept form. Our example says write the equation of a line with a slope of 4 that passes through the point 3, 2. First step is to plug the point and the slope into y equals mx plus b. So we know our y value to be 2 equals slope, which is 4, times the x value, which is 3, plus b. The second step is we are going to solve for b. We want to simplify 4 times 3, which is 12, so we have 2 equals 12 plus b. We're going to isolate the variable by subtracting 12 to both sides, giving us b equals -10. Now that we have that, we can plug it into the equation y equals mx plus b, which results in y equals 4x minus 10. That's all that I have for today. If you have any questions regarding this PowerPoint, please let me know.